No, we were, I was a clown and a teacher. I was a teacher, a clown for fun. Birthday parties, parades, grand openings. My wife and I clowned together for 20 years as the Love Clown
And Sweetheart.
Sweetheart. We clowned for the Salt Lake Winter Olympics in 2002 as guest clowns. Guest clowns. In fact, when we were in Park City, we had security guards go around with us, make sure nobody gave us a bad time. But tell them some stories, honey. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Well, we were outside the E-Center where they had the ice speeds. No, it wasn't speed skating. The ice hockey. And people lining up, going up the stairs, and the gal would get on her bullhorn and she'd say, "Okay, well, there's," giving them directions, and she says, "And there's no waiting down at the other door down here, and remember, there's no flash photography inside." So I'd say, "Okay, folks, no flashing the photographers." And
we had 2 hours before the event started, and then when the event started, they took us out. But we had to quickly think of things as people were coming in to get their seats. And so we were at the ice hockey, and people were coming by and say, "All right, folks, check your tickets, indoor ice diving, indoor." I had a big red nose. I said, "I tried to look what happened to me, you know." But anyway, I want to tell you my favorite all-time story. My mother was a school teacher for over 30 years, and she brought this story home to me one day, and I just love it. It's little Johnny, first day of school. And I'd ask the kids when I was clowning, "What's one of the first things you learn the first day of school?" Some say, "Well, write your name," and things like that. I said, "No, it has to do with something that's on a pole up in the air. Like the flag, you learn to pledge allegiance to the flag." So the teacher told the kids, "Okay, students, I want everyone to stand up and put your hand over your heart and learn to pledge allegiance to the flag." And so little Johnny stood up. All the kids stood up and put their hands over their hearts. Little Johnny stood up and put his hand back here. And the teacher said, "Johnny, what are you doing?" And Johnny said, "Well, I'm doing what you said, teacher. I put my hand over my heart and learned to pledge allegiance to the flag." And the teacher said, "Well, I'm sorry, Johnny, that isn't where your heart is." And little Johnny said, "Well, yes, it is, teacher. Every time Granny comes to visit, she pats me there and says, 'Bless your little heart, Johnny.'" That's one of my favorites. You got more.
Oh, I have a true story. Okay? We were clowning for an Art in the Park event, and all the politicians out handing out their pamphlets. And one of them came up to me and he started to hand me a pamphlet. He pulls back and he says, "I don't know, do they allow clowns to vote?" I said, "I don't know, why not? They let them hold office."
That's a good one.
All he could do was, he didn't know what to say. He said the first time he was speechless. The next day we had him wearing a red nose with us around in the park, and he didn't get voted in either. He lost. Anyway.
I have one other that's kind of a bittersweet memory. I would always go up to the Senior Citizen Center once a month and they'd have a birthday party once a month for everybody that had a birthday that month. And when I'd get through there, one time I went down to the hospital and I said, "Is there somebody I can visit?" And they said, "Oh yes." And they took me down the hall to this one man's room. Well, he had emphysema, and I didn't realize how ill he was, but he was sitting there and talking and worried about his wife, and I held his hand and we talked, and he cried and I cried, and then we got him to laughing, and he was having a great time and just laughing, and I felt good that I'd cheered him up, and I told him, "You know, you got to get better so you can go home and take care of your wife." And then came time for me to leave, and a couple of days later I read that he had passed away. So I felt like at least I got him to laugh.
I played the Cajun Joe chicken when she was doing this same driving. I put this big chicken outfit on, big head, chicken head, and then I'd stand out the street on the sidewalk and wag my tail end and wag cars, people honking, going by and wave. And one day guys came by with a squirt gun and squirted me. You know, it was in the summer, it was hot. But a lady drove by and I just waving with my wings and stuff. Or the chicken, she's looking at me and she had a wreck. She ran into another car. And I thought, oh no, that's my fault. So I went down there and I started directing traffic in the chicken outfit with my wings this way and going like this. And the cop came up finally. He says, I've never seen a chicken directing traffic before. And tell me about what the ladies did at the little.
So when I'd go up to the senior citizens home and they'd see me walk in, they'd say, oh, the Cajun chicken, and they'd all turn around and go, woo!
Wag their tails like I would do. Anyway, I think that's all, folks.